Greetings to all who are seeing this video, anyone new to the channel and anyone who's been here for a while. This is another reaction video and it's very prevalent for you, it's very relevant for you on this specific timeline because it's the beginning of this year and this short film actually predicts a lot of what's happening in the direction where humanity is going. Nothing here is a claim, only a commentary and analysis. Here we go. You are seeing here immediately that this goat is completely in a daze, not really that conscious, it has that energy. I believe it's symbolic of what they've done to mankind going into the simulated reality, and you see a barcode where the third eye is with these numbers under it.
If you zoom in here, you can see 666, which they programmed us.
Welcome to my world.
Here you see 666, which is known by
They should see that.
is known by the mark of the beast. But they programmed us to link it when we see this number, we link it to something negative, which is symbolized to the physical. But they wanna link it to the dark side of the physical. You know, like the heavy side. Do you have something?
I absolutely do. So there's the whole prophecy, right? And the religion, which is, we're not going to believe everything about it, but there's a point to it. And these numbers are mentioned because they will use it. It was predicted that it will be used in these last few thousand of years to slowly but surely corrupt the consciousness of humanity and keep pulling them down. Keep pulling them down. You see here, I got a 9 there. 9 is the reversal of 6. Higher mind, lower body. 6 lower body, 9 higher mind, because you see how that circle is on the lower part and then the upper part. You got to look at symbols and what's in front of you. Energy is there for a reason. Everything. There's millions of possibilities how things could be written here, shaped here.
It equals to 9 too.
Yes, and this, we'll put it on the screen for them to see. It also equals 9. So they're using that while pulling you to the lower body, while they're using the knowledge against you, and they put it on the third eye with a barcode, which means you're being scanned into a system.
Yeah, so they carry this energy because of all the rituals they use that link to that number, it carries that darkness energy, and we've been programmed. Everything carries energy, especially the numbers, symbols.
Everything is purposeful here, literally, even in this film.
Oh, and I want to add something before we...
About this?
Yes. I pet goat. They could put I am pet goat, but why they didn't put the I am? Because it's robotic, like you said, it's hypnotized, it's not present, there's no, the I am doesn't exist, and it's very similar to I, Robot, the movie.
Yeah, they're taking the I am out and just putting you in an I state, which is just you're seeing things, but you're not even aware that I am. You're just there, lost in the spiral. And then under, you can also see here someone leading an animal, right? And I believe that's how they kind of use the consciousness to their own volition. You see that S there, right? Now, what I have to tell you is that S is symbolic here of Satan. I think most would find that very obvious. Pulling the strings of the puppet, pulling the strings of the matrix to play. And you also see a reptilian energy here on the hands. Now, this is very specific and purposeful. I also want to tell you that the S is for Saturn, which we know the same ones who worship him also worship that planet because of the limiting energy it holds on a level of astrology energy. You see right there on what's being worn. Let's zoom in here. D, devil. Pulling the strings, the first thing that goes is to the puppet, who's, I'm not going to get into the specifics of places in the world and names. If you know, you know. And also, it has the letter for devil there as well. Demonic devil, right? After Satan also. Same thing, same energy. Warping the consciousness in this play. But we're awakening to that. 2026, you're going to see in this, towards the end of this film, you're going to see the contrast of when the highest awakened being, which is within you, returns to the planet in a symbolic way. I want to say one thing also. You see the star under this puppet. There's a star. We didn't notice it before.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how you refer to the celebrities and the ones in the world with these names that you worship. Not you specifically, but our program to worship. They refer to them as stars, and also fallen stars, fallen angels, right? I would say a true angel is guiding you within.
Forgot to mention about the board, the black and white.
The floor. Yeah, they use duality against you, which is basically meaning they're using the appearances in front of you to further confuse you. They're using matter against you.
It has many meanings.
I would say in this context, it's very obvious what they're saying, though.
Yeah.
I want to point out to y'all that above here you see that false programmed evolution status that they gave you, because really what that does is it lowers you into the physical body so much it makes you in a survival state like these animals would be, and it's really just warping the consciousness further and making you not realize how incredible and vast the human experience is, because you're really this one, the enlightened being who's the totality of the presence of God within you. And that's the whole shift of 2026. That's the whole shift of 2026, is to get out of this. You see here, evolution, but they took the you out. They're taking the you out and making you like unconscious, dense, right? They took the you out of evolution, which is you, your true self. And it's here. And notice there's a line in between that, and you're also above the clock. Like your consciousness is not subjected to only being on the clock.
And the false map, owl, which is linked to a cult.
So this is supposed to be in a room with all children. So it's all showing you how if you put them in that system, they'll be corrupted from the beginning because that entity got them. So a major thing moving forward, parents with your children, is don't put them out there into that system. That's going to mainly be the huge differential between old Earth and new Earth, because you're starting to shift the new generation, and that's all this entity wants. It needs you each day, but then what it also wants you to do is put that next generation into it, because that next generation is how they can keep capturing the essence, the source light.
And also the F equals minus F. I see it as how F is the sixth letter. 6 represents reality, this physical reality. And here I see it as how they invert. And this is their favorite thing to do, is to invert reality. Everything. Yeah, everything. They take the wisdom, like the owl that we saw earlier. They take the wisdom, they take the ancient knowledge, and they use it against people. Yeah. Yeah, the reptilian energy, the same that was in the beginning, it's showing here with the dragon and splitting like the brain, like I see it as distortion.
I see it also confusing your sense of self.
Yeah.
The heart right there also, where they're also isolating your heart. They're telling you what they are at all times. LOL, they're laughing at you. There's the inner child that goes into this simulation, and you see all the holographic ones around them, which are the unreal ones that exist only on the lower reality, and it's like they get morphed into this surrounding where no one is real, and they get confused, and the inner child starts to forget itself in a way. It starts to lose its imagination, its light, its freedom, its safety.
And also I see, like, and you said, did you mention the loop? Keeping them in a loop, trapping them. And this is Alice, symbolism of Alice in Wonderland, with the rabbit hole and the exit. And this movie, Alice in Wonderland, is also about awakening, where she follows the rabbit and she sees that the actual world, like she was in an illusion, and then when she follows the rabbit, she wakes up. And like she goes in a journey. It's like symbolism of the awakening journey. And the apple here, I see it as the knowledge, the forbidden fruit. So she's holding this, like Adam and Eve, she's holding this apple, she's holding this knowledge.
Then it's like it lost its true power. It gave it away, in a way. It couldn't sustain it. But then it starts to grow on its own because it's infinite. Like this lotus flower. And then the entity doesn't like it because it's the opposite of that darkness or that lower urge. The demi-urge is actually the purification of God.
These two characters, the first one, which is the president, this one, yeah, energy vampire, and this one have like similar names, and they are known to just play roles. They are known to play the same characters. So it's like one person, two characters. That playing two characters, and they have similar names. Wearing here the CIA badge, just showing you that he's supposed to be the enemy, but it's the opposite. He's connected. They are on just one side. They all just one entity, playing different roles, messing around while people fight.
It's because it's all so silly. They put on one mask, they change one letter, and everyone believes them. Everyone and then they put it in front of you. Let's wake up, y'all. And at the time where this character was, the other one was in charge. Also a synchronicity, we must add.
Maybe they take the same code and they make it as different.
You're saying DNA.
Yeah.
If you want to look up you can find online, maybe we'll link it, you want to show them. You think it's okay with the algorithm?
There's many videos.
Include this because I want you all to know what I deal with. See the facial features and how it is quite certainly the same exact entity, individual.
I believe that this country, I believe they will.
I've got to say here that this is very clear about how when the mother is not healed and not conscious, and the surroundings are not conscious, that reptilian energy, that more like matrix cage energy, is always observing, monitoring, sending projections, thoughts, people around you, and ideas, visions, dreams, images, feelings, manipulating you. And it's doing that already before the child even starts its life. That's what they're telling you. So to stop that, you have to awaken now and make sure the children are not put into that old system because it never worked.
So here, this is where people started like saying this is the Antichrist. You've heard about it. Because the one eye, but I see it as it's the opposite, awareness. But they programmed us the same as they programmed 666. They programmed us to see the eye as something very evil because the way they put it, everywhere they use it. But what's wrong with the eye? We use it as awareness. But they flip it, like I said earlier. They flip the whole reality. This is why they're saying, this is in Arabic, the Dajjal. People are expecting the coming back of the Christ. In Islam and other religions, they expect the Antichrist to come, and they say he's gonna have one eye closed. Also, this is why they do that, and this is how they program you, how the one eye.
I want to put images of all of them when you said it. Go ahead, it's okay. That's that entity monitoring the system. That's an inner child that's been overtaken by the entity, drained, being corrupted. False thoughts from the ego being conditioned. Markets plunge, war. Just coding, programming. Yes. Yeah, let's go ahead and mention how they deserve to know about this. So you see here on that entity the reverse pyramid, which is basically pulling that energy back down on you, right, to transmute it on you and then use your energy for themselves. And there's that one ring for Saturn, which is also connected with Satan, Saturn.
And one eye. And the one eye too.
One eye, oh, yes. And yeah. It's constant story, constant theme. War, right? Programming. And now this would be the symbolism of 2026 going into this. You see you'll see here in a minute. And that's one of the, also what I mentioned to you earlier about the ones that don't exist. Remember in the beginning, you can put a screenshot of that again. From the beginning with the inner child, the ones that aren't real, they were just shadow figures then, but they turn into this, always around the child. And here's that symbol of like death, basically, and people might say, oh, this means this means this. Don't take everything literal, look at the symbolism. So it's telling you like it's a dead energy, and it's like there's something there programming it, coding it, and that's what I believe they put around the children a lot of the time, because it creates a distortion, and then they get more disconnected from their actual nature of awareness, of consciousness, of expansion, of infinite possibilities, because they're being scanned into a system. Yeah, you see the lotus flower there being pulled down into that, what would you want to call it, disgust. The thing about the reptilians is the ones we're dealing with here, they're really the disgust of the universe, and they don't belong here. You can see another video of mine on this channel where I talk about that more. They don't belong here. And you're seeing the effects of this by how harsh the duality contrast is and what's happening to humanity in this film, and what they're doing with the energy, right? And how clear they make it. Eventually it will all go back to being one. It was always one projection, but you're seeing like one side that is here wanting to give peace, and the other side war and taking ego. And then from behind, the ego was also on their side. You notice that creature came up from behind this one looking for peace. You would think it's someone next to you that's on your side, but it turns out it's another one of the matrix implants. I see that like dark energy there. And then it's like, man, do I even have a chance? And that's when he comes back, and not in the way you think. Through the awakening of consciousness, through that illuminated heart. Through the dissolution of the false, right? Because as you mentioned earlier with that one eye there, this is all about, that one eye is all about perceiving through that illusion, contrast, duality, the density, the judgment. If someone, for instance, says something negative towards someone else and all they're doing is speaking truth and peace, then you understand that this one is either still lost in their ego, or they just represent that darker side that we're seeing here, that's basically just like a computer. That's a reptilian mechanism that's there to put them further into the system, and he is here to dissolve it. As pure consciousness. That's how he returns. See, that's that reptilian making noise, and the inner child can't take it, but it starts to look into the other direction, and that's when he returns, breathing the fire of life. The true essence, that you're beyond this realm, and he has returned. It's happening now.
And here, Shiva, also another triangle. But this one is not inverted if you see it. Means like ascension. And at the same time, destruction is happening, and Shiva is linked to the destruction, god of destruction, I think. And
it's all symbolic of the great reset. Everything will be drawn back to this pure energy of him.
The light being projected on the darkness. And they don't want this. Some people will resist awakening and will try to block it. no matter how it's obvious, it's in front of them. So this is what's happening here.
I would say no more costume. The costume is being shed.
And the cycles also are being removed, because this represents the cycles, the blood represents the cycle, and the light is removing all these cycles, and counting the days, counting, been trapped in a, she was literally like trapped in a
Cage.
in the beginning, and counting the days, being in a cycle, being in a loop, and now this light is, even though she's resisting it, the light will expose the ego, the darkness.
He's burning it all away. False matrix. The reptilian runs away because it cannot obtain the frequency and sustain the level of harmony of the truth as the inner child awakens and is going back to its source. And the play continues on until the very end, but the energy is ascending. You see here, this is a devil energy, right? That's where he is coming out of. He exits that. And that's symbolic of the old earth going into the new earth, waking up to it fully with pure awareness, pure presence. Complete stability, as you see there in that look of God. Just completely aware as the old earth crumbles. Which shift do you choose to make? Do you choose to stay on the old earth, or to refrain from that and choose the truth?
It's they could put anything else, but they were very specific, putting churches, which he talked about part of the old earth, and this is what actually Jesus came here to talk about. He was against all these organizations. They didn't use God in truth in a light way. They always used it to program for fear.
There's always a contingency with that system.
And this is what he did. He came and destroyed that, and this is why they didn't like it. Either you think Jesus has a symbolism, or it happened. It doesn't matter. You have to take just the story. You don't have to get lost in the details. Sometimes the details are important. Sometimes...
Other times it can sabotage you if you get attached to it too much. They put a church there because, they created this system of false worship, and he didn't want that. Obviously, that's why he's transcending that with humanity, awakening us, awakening you, awakening I to the I am. And that whole image, I'd say, describes the entire last 2,000 years. Everything in this film does. But that crumbling, that falling, decreasing, is the house of cards that they made to destruct your purity, your power, your essence, to disconnect you from your source. He came back to take back what he placed here, and they manipulated their own way with his message. They gave you parts of it. Now, on the new earth, it will ascend into the truth of what he spoke, which is oneness, not some label of a religion. That is not truth. That is ego. That is also limitation, and that's not what he wanted. And you see that transmutation, that transcendence, and most of all, the shifting into the truth.
This earth is a cycle. So even in 10 years, it can still be relatable. This is not only for this year.
The layers will break down even more. Maybe there's even more meanings to it in a few years, But right now you're seeing such extreme, potent contrast on both sides. Like the shift is when you notice yourself as presence beyond just the body, because that's what he is. That's why you see such power there in that presence, such stability, right? Observing, right?
Our original state, just observant. As a kid, you observe, and this is where here, around the chaos, he's just observing. It's very crazy how they see it.
This one observes a whole lot. She observes every letter and every mannerism in her whole environment.
He doesn't like it.
Leave a comment If y'all are ready to shift to the new earth and what you've noticed about how your environment and world around you are changing. Everyone's in a different universe. Everyone's shifting and aligning at different rates and frequencies and timelines. And everyone share your opinion and perspective, because that actually makes a difference for others who are awakening to see proof that something higher is out there and within simultaneously, and the change is happening now.